Welcome to News Video Clip. If you're a regular viewer or listener, you know that we have shown numerous clips of President Donald Trump falling asleep in the middle of White House meetings in the middle of the day. I mean, the man is clearly not fit to be president. So today, Representative Ted Lieu decided to show some of these videos to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And this is a wild video because Rubio is literally going to deny that Trump falls asleep right after watching a video of Trump falling asleep.
You have been at multiple meetings with President Trump. In a moment, I'm going to show you a video of one of these meetings. It is from last December. It's a cabinet meeting. I'm going to ask you to focus on President Trump, and you will see that he is sleeping while you are talking.
Oh my God.
Please show the video.
Products they make and what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. In issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money. This is taxpayer money.
Secretary Rubio, have you been at more than one meeting where President Trump has fallen asleep? That's false. That's false.
I've never seen him fall asleep. On the contrary, the guy doesn't sleep, which is a big problem because he calls me at 2 a.m. He calls me at 5 a.m. And, I like to sleep a little bit, maybe not 12 hours, but at least 6. So the other day he was at the Oval Office and
Secretary Rubio,
12:30 p.m. 12:30 a.m. I don't know what you're talking about.
Secretary Rubio, I'm going to show you in a moment a video that shows you just lied to Congress.
Oh, okay.
So this is a video of a cabinet meeting literally from last month where Donald Trump is sleeping while you're talking. Please show this video.
A coalition of countries that line up behind the peace deal, behind the border peace, and instill it every day is a challenge. But it's been driven personally by the president. It's the reason why we're involved in this whole Ukraine-Russia conflict. That's not our war. It's not the president's war. This war started. It never would have happened if you've been president. But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it.
You are literally talking about issues of war and peace, and Donald Trump is sleeping right next to you.
So is that wild? Marco Rubio literally denying that Trump falls asleep in the meetings, even though Rubio is sitting right next to him, talking in the middle of a meeting and Trump's sleeping. Wow. Just imagine having to lie that much for your boss. That is absolutely pathetic. And here's something else pathetic. This is Representative Randy Fine of Florida, and he's going to be asked by TMZ DC about a left-wing influencer named Hassan Piker, who is a Muslim who was born in New Jersey. Hassan Piker is an American citizen, and Randy Fine is going to say that he should be banned from America. Watch this clip.
I was interested to get your take on Hassan Piker not being allowed into England.
Well, I don't think he should be allowed into America, so I think that's a good start.
What about freedom of speech?
Well, people have freedom of speech, but I think when you're a terrorist, you should be held responsible for that.
Okay, first of all, Hassan Piker is not a terrorist. He's never been charged with being a terrorist. He has absolutely no history as a terrorist. So Randy Fine is lying. Let's go back to the video.
I think that he's clearly a supporter of terror. He's a walking billboard for the problem with birth tourism. He was brought here by his Turkish family. They had him, then they took him home, made him hate America, and then sent him in to torment us. The guy's a horrible human being, and I wouldn't let him into my country if it was up to me, so I don't blame them.
Look, I mean, maybe your opinion, but he's not a terrorist. He says some stuff that you disagree with, and I think banning him from a country is pretty crazy step for someone who's just expressing their opinion.
So there you go. And the TMZ guy is right. We actually have freedom of speech in this country, but Randy Fine is a fascist, and he wants anybody that he doesn't agree with to be banned from the United States. Well, I'm an American citizen. I'm an American citizen. Representative Fine, why don't you try to ban me from the United States? That's an open challenge from me to you. Ban me. Just try it. I so much would love to see you try. I await your reply. Alrighty, let's move on now to Benito, Texas. And there's an ICE facility there that has rounded up and imprisoned pregnant, unaccompanied minors. So these are teenage pregnant girls, and they don't want anyone to talk to these teenage girls. Representative Maxine Dexter, who is a congresswoman from Oregon and a former critical care physician, wanted to go in and talk to these girls and see how they're doing as far as their health care because they are pregnant. But guess what happened? ICE would not allow her to talk to these girls. Let's watch this video from Border Report as they interview the congresswoman.
See any girls. And we had given notice that we not just wanted to tour the facility, but we wanted to be able to speak with some of these young women who are being detained there. These are some of the most vulnerable possible humans on this planet being detained while pregnant in a foreign country without access to any of their parents or family. And transparency and accountability are preeminent in my mind right now. And so we gave notice. We worked with ORR to make sure that we knew we were coming. We had an OB gynecologist with us, someone who's from the area, and they did not have anyone that we could speak with. And there are concerns about access to appropriate levels of care here. And it's a healthcare desert. And so whether or not they're getting full care and whether or not they're supported and being able to call their moms when they want.
Yeah, I asked her if she, why she couldn't speak to any of the girls. She said that they had prearranged to talk to two of them, but when they got there was a big surprise. And here's what she said happened. We were given notice by the attorneys working with two of the detainees that they were willing and wanting to speak with me today. Their attorney went, and then in the interim, Laura had strongly recommended and scared them from talking with me.
When you say that, you mean like threat of deportation? I have no idea. What their attorney said is that the girls were now intimidated and they were scared to talk to me.
Wow. So these two girls, these two teenage pregnant girls, are too scared to talk to a congresswoman because they're being intimidated by ICE. And it's interesting because there's actually more than two pregnant girls at that facility, but nobody knows exactly where they are. And nobody knows if they've had their babies or where the babies are. And guess who isn't talking about this? Guess who hasn't said one word about this? The Christian pro-life activists, the same ones who claim to care so much about babies and they care so much about pregnant teenagers. They haven't said one damn word about this case because they don't care. And also, remember, these girls are not white. So I'm sure that plays a role as well. Alrighty, we're going to move on now. And you may have heard the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that these Republicans in Alabama who have gerrymandered their districts to cut Black people out are actually going to get their way thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the Republicans are using something called the shadow docket, which is normally used for like emergency cases, like, somebody on death row and their lawyer has to call, at the last minute and try to, stop the execution. So let's listen to this. This is Josh Welch. He is a lawyer and he's on the I've Had It podcast. And listen to him explain this. He does such a great job.
This is another concurring chapter of the shadow docket. This opinion was issued on the shadow docket. It's interesting because it comes from a 3-judge panel in Alabama, 2 of which were Trump appointees that specifically found that this redistricting had intentional racial discrimination as a part of it. there was a finding of that. And 2 Trump appointed judges found that. And then they send that up to the Supreme Court. And in the middle of the night, the Supreme Court on the shadow docket overturns that with basically no reason or justification. Again, you want to talk about criminals? You want to talk about people that are evil? Look no further than our Supreme Court.
Right. So Josh nails it so well there. And the interesting thing about this shadow docket, as I said, it's usually normally used for emergency cases. The ruling is temporary until this case is actually heard before the Supreme Court. But the 6 right wingers on the Supreme Court did not have to okay this through the shadow docket. They could have just held off if they wanted to, but they decided to okay the Alabama Republicans cutting Black people out of their districts, which is a clear violation of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Alrighty, that's all the stories we have for today. We have links for all of our stories right below the video. Unlike the right-wing podcasters, the ones who are paid off, like Joe Rogan and Benny Johnson and Tim Pool and Jimmy Dore. We actually back up what we say. They don't. All right. I want to thank everybody who's been subscribing to this podcast. If this is your first time, please like and subscribe. If you hate this podcast, please subscribe. If you hate my guts, please subscribe. Just subscribe, and we'll be back later with more news.